let us create a new project in PyCharm, and I'm gonna name it as snake underscore game, and I will show you how to install Pygame package in your computer or project. Let me just clear the screen by pressing Ctrl A and backspace, and go to terminal and give the command pip install Pygame, and this command basically installs Pygame in your project, and now we are good to go. So now we are going to deal with the basics of Pygame. So first of all, let's just import the project. For Pygame, let me just zoom it out. In order to play a game, we need a game window, right? So we will see how to create a game window first of all. So first of all, we do if name is equals to main, and first of all we need to initialize the Pygame. This is very important. Pygame dot init, and now let's just create a game window. Basically, I'm gonna give it a name as screen is equals to Pygame dot display dot set mode, and here we need to give the dimensions of a window like x and y, x comma y. And as you know, I'm gonna give it as 400 by 500 for example, to show you guys. And let's run, let's see what happens. Look, you can't see anything because that window will basically pop out and it will be disappearing in 1 second. You can't even notice that. So in order to hold the screen in position, I mean in order to keep the screen running, we need to create a loop which will never become false. Let's say while loop, while true, and pass. This loop basically will never end because I give the value, default value as true, and as you know, the basic of while loop, like it will never stop until the value become false, right? So let's run now, let's see what we can see. Let's run now, let's see what we can see. There you go. Look, here is a gaming window, but as you can see, we can't even see the close button and minimize anything. We can't even do anything there. We can just move the window here and there, but we can't even really do anything. First of all, I don't want to see this. Let's give any color to our screen. In order to give the color, we use the command screen dot fill and color. This follows RGB pattern. You know RGB, right? Right, let me show you. RGB is basically like red, blue and green. By combining these colors, we can create any color that exists in the world. So look, here you can see all the RGB of every color. There are like 16 million colors, I guess, and RGB and for RGB, for each color the maximum value is 255. So suppose I give 255 for red, R, 255 for G, green, 255 for blue, and in order to see this, okay, let's just run first of all. Look, we gave the RGB color, but we can't see here cause we didn't update the screen. We fill the screen with color, but in order to see the color with our eyes, we have one line in Pygame, that is Pygame dot display dot flip. Here we can use Pygame dot display dot update as well, but there is a slight difference which you can read it out in Google, but I am going to use Pygame dot display dot flip here, and let's run now. Reopen. So basically, if you max out all the values in RGB, we are going to get white color. In the same way, if you give all zeros, you are going to get black color. But let's see, let's give any random color like 255, like something that is basically your wish, and let's run now. Let's see what color we can see. Now let's run and let's see which color we are going to get. There you go, we get pale blue or light blue, whatever. So by this you got to know 2 points, like how to create our game window first of all, then how to give any color to our game window. So in the last session we have created a gaming window and we gave a basic color to it, right? And as you can see, we can't really do anything here. We can't even close the window or we can't even do anything. So let us give some basic events to a window. Like, let's make this window much interactive. Like, we should be able to close the window. Okay, let's make this window much interactive. So for that, so what is the logic? What is the logic here? If we want the screen to be closed, this while loop should become false. So in order to close the screen, we should make this while loop false. Let me store this true in any variable, and I'm gonna call it as Rana, for example. Rana is true, and here we give Rana. So in order to stop the while loop, we need to make this Rana value as false. So we need to write the code such that when we press any key, this Rana value will become false and the loop will exit and the loop will terminate. Let us see what we can do. In Pygame, we have one module called event. Event.get, and So in order to use this event, we need to import one package called from pygame.locals import star. Star means everything. We are importing everything. Star means. So if event dot type is equals to key down, and if event dot key is equals to k escape, that means if I press the escape button, what will happen? What we want to do, we want to close the window, right? In order to close the window, this runner value should become false. So if I press the escape key, then runner value will become false. Why? I want to close the window if I press escape, but when window will be closed? When the while loop becomes false. So I gave, if I press escape key, the runner value should become false. Elif event dot type is equals to quit, then runner value should become false. What is this? This is nothing but basically your close button. So what I did here, let's see. If I press escape key, the runner value should become false and the loop should terminate and the window should be closed. Or if I press close button, the runner value should become false and the loop should terminate and the window should be closed. Simple, nothing complex here. So let's run. See, if I press escape, window is gonna close obviously. So if I press wrong, window is closing now. Cool. We have created a basic gaming window with some events in it. In the last session, we have created a gaming window and we gave a basic color to it, right? And we gave some we added some events to the basic window, like escape to exit the screen and press close button to exit the screen. We have done this in the last session. Now in this session we will see how to add our object on the gaming window. So in order to do that, I need to store the image or object in any variable. Let's say block pygame dot image dot load and the image name the file name block.jpg dot convert, and let's see whether we can see this block.jpg on our window or not. Look, we can't see anything. Why? We just loaded the image into the block variable, but we didn't print that on screen. In order to print that on screen, we need to use a function like screen dot bleed. Bleed is a command, is nothing but copy. Bleed screen dot bleed, that means copy on screen. What we want to copy? This block comma, where we want to copy, let's say 100 by 100. Now let's see what happens. Look, still you can see the block on the screen. Why? Because look at this properly. What we did, from the first line we created the window, second we printed the block on the window. After printing the block, we gave screen.fill with this color. That means after creating the block on the screen will be totally filled with this color. So we can't really see the color. We can't really see the block. So in order to see the block, we need to have this line on top. Now you just observe how I'm thinking, how my logic is. First, I created a window. Second, I gave a basic color to the window. Then on that color, I will print the block. Let's run now. Look, there you go. First the window will be created, then window will have the color I gave, then on that the block will be printed. Simple. Now in order to give events to this block, let's see, I'm pressing arrows but the block is not moving. In order to move the block, we need to add some events to the block. Let's say here if event dot key is equals to k up, that means this line basically means if I press up arrow, what should happen? The block should move up. So okay, first of all let me store this 100 by 100 in any variables. Block of x coordinate is equals to 100 and block underscore y coordinate is equals to 100. You can give any values, I'm just giving 100 by 100. Block of x comma block of y. Now if I press up arrow, the block should move up. That means block of y minus equals to 10. Let's say it should move by 10 pixels. Why I give minus? I said the block should move up, right? But why I give minus sign here? Let me explain. Look here, this is our game window and this is the origin. The values of y starts from here, 100, 200, 300, 400 and so on. The values of x starts from here, 100, 200, 300, 400. So what you need to understand here is the values of y increasing from top to down and the values of x will be increasing from left to right. So suppose if the block is here and if you want to move the block up, that means let's take, suppose the value of y is here 200 and here is 100. If you want to move the block up, the value of y should decrease. Got it, guys? If I want to move the block right, the value of x should increase. I hope you understood. You'll understood much better Okay, let's see. Let me copy this to save the time. We need to write the same for all, I mean all arrows. This is for up and this is for down arrow. Down. If you press down arrow, what should happen? The y value should increase. I already explained you. If you press right arrow, the value of x should increase, cause the values of x increase from as we move from left to right. So increase. If you press down button, the value of x, oh sorry, if you press left button, the value of x should decrease, cause from left to right the values of x increase, from right to left the values of x decrease. So we added events to the block, and let's run. Let's see whether we can move the block or not. Let me press the arrows. Okay, I'm pressing, but the block is not moving. Why? Well, let me explain. So here we create the screen, we give color, we added the block on the screen. Then this is initial position of the block is 100 by 100, right? The block will be there. Now here by pressing keys, we are changing the value of the block. If the block is now at 100 by 100. If you press any key, the value of the block is changing, right? So after changing, the block should print again. So what I should do? Screen.breathe.block. Now the values of block x comma block y will update according to these, and obviously after making any changes, we need to update the screen, right? Display.flip, command V. Now let's run and let's see whether we can move the block or not. Let me press the right key. There you go. The block is moving right, down, left, top, but you can see this keeps on copying the block by 10 pixels. This size is 10 pixels. This is moving the block 10 pixels. So I don't want to see like that. I don't want to see like this. So what we need to do here, we need to add this line here. Copy this, command V. Now let's see what happens. Let's run. Look, there you go. The block is moving right. We can move the block like we want now. So what really happens here? Let me explain you clearly. So what we gave, we copied the block on the screen with the initial position of 100 by 100. So now we are changing the values of the block by pressing the different keys, right? After pressing the keys, the block is already there at 100 by 100, but we don't want to see it. So we fill the screen again with that color. Then by pressing the keys, the values of x and y of the block are changing, right? These updated values will store here, and with this bleed command, the block will be printed at its new position, and with this line the display will get updated. Got it? In this way it works. I hope you guys understood. In last session we created a gaming window and we give the background color, and we moved our block onto our screen, and we added some events to our screen and our block, as you can see. Now in this session, close it. In this session, let's just look at the code. It looks so big and so complex. Let's make our code more readable. That means let's put all this code into classes. Then our code looks much readable. And look here, if you wanna display any block on the screen, we need to write all these things. How about we create a class for it? Class def, let's say draw block, and let's put all these things there. And let's call it draw block. Let's run. See, we converted the code into object-oriented programming. So this is very easy, but from now very important topic will start. So make sure you guys pay much attention. So look at this. This looks much complex. I don't want all these things in my main function. I just want only two lines of code in my main function. So let's put all of these into classes and objects. How about I create a class game. That's a game. You can give any name you want. Game. And this is how you initialize the class. And let's keep pass for now, and I will create another class. Let's say pass. I will implement these two first, but this is my idea. I'll implement these two now. So okay, I'll call the game. And we will say game.run. As you know, this is the way to call the function. So I just want these two lines under this main class. I should get rid of this all these lines. So let's start moving. So if I call the game, first what I need to do, I told you initializing the Pygame is much important. So first line should be this. Let's move this line to top. Next, what I should do, after initializing the Pygame, I need to make the game window. So this line should go there. Yeah. So after setting the screen, I need to give screen a color. let me paste it there, command V, and let's see what else we can move. Let me see, let me check. No, that's all. So we'll make these class members. This is how you make them class members. So I replaced 3 lines here. Let's see about this. What is this block? This is actually our snake. So how about I create a new class snake? Class snake. And obviously we will define the class. And how we form the snake? First of all, we give the block from which we will create the snake later. So first thing it should do is to take the block and obviously it will take these coordinates, copy, and let's paste. And how about we create another function in this name, draw block or draw snake. Let's say draw. So here we need to draw, that means we need to use bleed function. So yeah, we use the bleed function, and basically after drawing the block it should update the screen, right? So we need to move this line to the place where we draw the screen, draw the snake, V. So we have successfully moved all these extra lines into our classes and objects. Look, this is how you do it. Let me explain once again clearly. First of all, this is our main class. First of all, this is our main. From this all our programs will start. So we call the game function, right? So it will come here, it will call this, and what will happen? It will initialize the Pygame first of all. Next it will create the gaming window. Next it will fill the screen with the color that we gave. This is what it does when we call it. Let's implement these. Let's make them class members. Self dot so far our code looks good. Self dot, and self dot x is fine, no need block. I can't add so much big, I'm too lazy. This block should be self dot block, and this block underscore x should be self dot x, and the block y should be self dot y. Self dot y, yes. Here we can create a parent screen, parent screen, and we can store self.screen is equals to parent screen. So in place of self.screen we can use the parent screen. So here we can use parent screen, parent screen. Next, here what I told you in the beginning, this game we are calling the game. That means it will call this, it will create a screen, it will give the basic color to it, then we need to put the snake on the screen, right? So we need to call the snake function. That we can do by using, we can call the snake function using self.snake is equals to snake into where we want to print that. We can say self.screen, we can say parent screen, we print it on parent screen. So what is parent screen? So self.screen is our parent screen. Self.screen, then this will make the snake, this line will make the snake from here. After that we need to print the snake, so we'll just call this draw function, self.draw self.snake.draw. Yeah, so far our code looks good. What we need to do here, so this draw function basically do the same function as this draw block, so both draw the snake on the screen, so we need to move them there. Command V, and here we should make it class member, self.screen. Yes, so far code looks good, and we can delete this. Yes, our code looks good. And I want to move this whole thing too. So let's move this whole thing into run class. Let's move here. How about we create a classes to move all these things? You can say self.move up, self.snake.move up. And for down, we make self.snake.move down. Look, all these things doesn't exist. I'm gonna write them. I'm gonna create them, but this is my idea. Dot right here. Now left. So let's create these things now. Left, move left, what will first we'll write for move up. So what is the logic to move up? The y coordinate should decrease, so self dot y minus equals to 10. This I explained you already before, and it is gonna call self dot draw. Self dot draw, and same way we'll write for all. I'm gonna copy it to save the time. Up, this is down. Down, y should increase, and this is for right. Here x should increase. X should increase. And this is for left. Here x should decrease. Yep, we created these buttons. Here we can use self.screen. And we basically change the whole code into, we basically moved our whole code into object and classes, and this is how you do it. And this is the basic feature for a good programmer. If you want to be a good programmer, you need to make any code into, you should be able to make any code into object-oriented programming. If you go to any company and there will be lots of lines for one job, and if you can write a code more readable like this, like you can see in front of your eyes how I change the whole big code into objects and classes, how I change my whole code into objects and classes. So let me tell you how I did it. Once again, I want to explain it again. So here properly, here let's see, this is our main function. This is the heart of the game. From here everything starts. The code execution will start from here. So what I did here, first I call the game function. Where is game? Let's go there. What game function will do? It will first initialize the Pygame, then it will create a window, then it will fill the screen with the color that we gave. Then look, it will call the snake function or snake class. Let's go to snake class and let's see what it will do. Yes, we came to snake class, and what basically it do is it will take the block and it will take the block, that's all. And with the block we are going to create the screen. How? Come here. First it is going to clear the screen with, it is going to fill the screen properly with the color we gave. Then it is gonna copy the block. It is gonna copy this block wherever we gave. Initially we gave 100 by 100, so it is gonna copy the block in x coordinate as 100 and y coordinate as 100. And display.flip, this is used to update the screen. This is much important to see what are the changes that we did. So after that, what it does is it calls the draw. I already told you what draw does. It just draw this block. Now it comes down and it checks the events. I don't know why these spaces come when I copy and paste it. I created different classes for each of the button. Like if you press up, okay, let's see what happens. Let's run. Let's see. Yes, there you go. We can move a block. There you go. So this is how you convert the experimental code into objects and classes. I hope you guys understood well. If you have any doubts, please comment down below. In the last session, we created a block that moves when we press the arrows, right? Let me show you. This is what we created in the last session, right? But as you can see here, the block moves only when I press any arrow. If I press down, it is going just one step down, but I don't want like this. I want my snake to run continuously. The snake should move continuously in one direction. If I press right button, it should keep on moving right until I change the direction. In order to do this, we need a module called time. So let's say we have one class called walk, and we will add some time delay. Why we add time delay? Because this while loop runs so fast. Our snake moves like you can't even see that. I'll show you later. Our snake moves very fast. In order to use this time, we need to import time module here. We need to import time here. Cool. Now let's see what this do. If I press up key, the snake will move one step up, right? But what is the logic? I mean, what we want? We want our snake to move continuously in one direction until we change the direction, right? So let us introduce direction parameter. Let's say up. I mean, we're just giving the default direction is up. We can give down or whatever. So as I told you the logic, if I press up key, look here, if I press up key, what will happen, this will call the move up class. So what will move up class will do, this will change the coordinates according to the given logic here. But what we want, as I told you, if you press up key, the direction of snake should move up and it should move continuously, right? If you press down key, the snake should move continuously down. So how to do that? So if you press up key, direction should change to up. So let's copy this. If you press down key, the snake should move down, right? The direction of snake should change to down. If you press right key, the direction of snake should change right. If you press left key, the direction of snake should change to left, right? We gave the walk function here, right? Let's implement that. Let's implement the walk function. If walk if self dot direction is equals to up, what should happen if the direction is up? As I told you the logic, as I explained you before, the block should move up. So how we move the block? Self dot y minus equals to 10. I already explained you how this works, and let's copy and paste this to save the time, and we will implement this for every key. I don't know why these gaps pop out when I copy paste something. Down, what should happen if I press down? The value of y should increase. Now if I press right, the value of x should increase. If I press left, the value of x should decrease. And obviously it needs to call the draw function, self dot draw. Let's see everything works fine or not. Oops. This is for next topic. This is for actually next topic, but I forgot to clean it out. Okay, cool. Now let's run. Look, I'm not pressing anything. The snake keeps on moving. Our block keeps on moving in one direction. If I press down key, it will just change the direction, but it will keep on moving down. If I press right key, it will just change the direction, but it keeps on moving right. Cool. We successfully moved the block according to the time. Now what we should do? We have just one block moving here and there, right? But let us create a snake with that one block. How to do that? What is the logic behind it? So we have one block, right? We just need to add few more blocks to make a snake. So we can add length here. We can add length parameter here. Length. And we can make it a class member. length, and here I need to give empty array. Why? I will explain you. Hold on. Let me open Python console. Run in Python console. Okay, leave all that errors. Look in Python. Let's say 3. Oops, I need to give any value. Let's say 45, and if I press it 3 times, or if I wanna, let's say 45, and if I give into 6 times, what is gonna happen? It is gonna make an array of 45 6 times. So cool. This is what the logic of a snake. So I will explain you clearly here. So our block size is 40 pixels. So we are gonna create a variable named size, and we are gonna give size as 40. Our block size into 40. Look, I need to multiply it with length. Why I am doing this? Let me explain. Look, if this is our snake, we are not just moving. Suppose this is the head of the snake. Suppose if I want to move the whole snake, I am not just moving one x and y. I have multiple x and y's here. Look, this is one x and y, and this is one x and y. 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 I have to move multiple x and y's. In order to achieve that, I need to give x can if I want the snake to be 6 blocks in size, so I need to move 6 x and y pairs, right? So that's why we are multiplying with length here. Okay, now how to do that? I need to print 6 snakes, right? I mean 6 blocks. I need to make a snake with 6 blocks. Here this self.x into self.y prints only 1 block, but if you put this in a for loop, this is gonna print all the blocks. For I in range, basically it should go till length. I mean self.length, because this is a class member. Then self.x into I, self.y into I. If the value of I is 1, it will print the first block. If the value of I is 2, it will print the second block. If the value of I is 3, it will print third block. After that, we need to call the snake. We need to give the length function. Where we will give the length function? Where we call the snake. Self.screen, comma, let's say for example, let's say 2 first of all. Then if I run this, let's see what is gonna happen. It is not gonna do anything. Why? Cause the logic here is, look, suppose if I move this head of the snake, what should happen? This second block should come in the position of the first block, right? This third block should come in the position of the second block, and this fourth block should come in the position of the third block. That is how our snake moves, right? So how to achieve that? We already printed the snake of length 6 here. We need to implement the walk function. Why? We need to implement the walk function here. Why? Because all the blocks should reposition themselves into its previous block's position. So we'll keep it in for loop for I in range. In order to bring this block in the previous block's position, we need to run for loop in reverse direction. So here self dot length -1, self dot length -1, comma, till where we want to go, -1. This will print the block in reverse direction. So what should happen? Self dot x into I is equals to self dot x into I -1. Why? Because I said the previous block should come into the position of its previous block's position. Why? If the head of the snake move, this block should come in the position of this block. That means we need to give this position -1, then only it will come down, right? For this we did this. Self dot y into I is equals to self dot x into I -1. Now we need to give 0. Why? Because 0 means the head of the snake, it won't change. It don't need to go in the position of the previous block. Only the blocks that are behind the head should go. So this head will be constant. Only these other blocks will change. Now let's run and see what happens. Look, there you go. Look, but the gap between the two blocks is very small, that is just 10 pixels. So let's change that. We need to give the actual size of our block image, that is 40 pixels. Cool. Now let's see. Look, there you go. Look, a snake is ready. Now let's give length, let's say 6. Look, look, this is our snake. We have successfully created a snake with one block. We have successfully created the snake. Now let's give food to the snake. Let me just add another class called apple. Look, this is how we need to do object oriented programming. I mean, game component, we just add them into classes and objects. This is how you do it. This is how you initialize the class. So what I need to do, first I need to load the image. So I can load the image in any variable, let's say food. How to load the image? Pygame dot image dot load. What is the our image name? apple.jpg. apple.jpg. Look, as I told you, our all blocks are of size 40 pixels. Look, 40 by 40 pixels. Dot convert. Okay, I successfully loaded the image, and by adding self we make them class member. And let's give draw function to draw the apples. Def draw. So self dot screen dot bleed. What I need to bleed? Self dot block. Let's give the coordinates. Self dot x is equals to, look here, we need to give the multiples of 40. Why? Because of block image and our apple image are of size 40 pixels. So if we give different values, our snake and our food will never align with each other. So let's say size into multiples of 40, let's say 3, or you can say 2 or 1, your wish. Self dot y is equals to size into 3. Now self dot x comma self dot y, we need to put them in tuple, otherwise it will throw an error. Look, so far everything looks good. Oh, we need to give the parent screen here. Parent screen. So self dot screen is equals to parent screen. Now everything should look good. Here we gave food, self dot food. Yes. Now we need to call the apple class. How? Where we call the snake? Here, right? Same, we need to call the apple class. Self dot apple is equals to apple, and apple should print on self dot screen, and we need to call the draw function, self dot apple dot draw. It is showing error here. Self dot screen dot bleed, and what we wanna bleed? Self dot food, and after printing our apple we need to update the screen. Pygame.display.flip. So what we did here, we created a class named apple, we loaded this image, and we print the apple on our screen, and we updated the display, and we called our apple class here, and here we need to call our apple class again, just like we call the snake. Self dot apple dot draw. Cool. All right, now let's run. Look, there you go. Look at our food. By this we successfully printed our food on the screen. Let's make the snake bigger. I want a snake of length 6. Let's see. Look, there you go. There you go. In the last session, we have drawn our food on the screen. Look, we have drawn our food on the screen. Now in this session, I'm going to explain you what happens when snake eats the apple. How to do that. And this is our apple. Just think once, think about our logic. When the head of the snake, this is the head of the snake, when the head of the snake hits the apple, we consider that as collision. And if the head of the snake hits the apple, then the apple should disappear, and we call it as, we can say that snake ate apple. Now how to do that? First of all, let's make our code more readable. Look here, I don't want these two things here. Let's keep them in function. Let's keep them in any class. Here, def, let's say play, and we can paste them here. So I don't need to write those two lines. I can simply write self.play. Now our code works the same. Check here. Look, our code works as the same. Def is class. I'm going to write a class to detect the collision. So here self comma x1 comma y1 comma x2 comma y2. Here we need to check the position of the coordinates of the block and the coordinates of the snake. If, let me write the code, then I'll explain. If x1 greater than or equals to x2 and x1 less than x2 plus size. Similarly for y, if y1 greater than or equals to y2 and y1 less than y2 plus size. Return true. Now let me explain this. Let's copy this. Let's paste this. Now if the snake is moving in horizontally, then we need to take x. So let's take y here, as our snake is moving vertically. Copy and we paste here. Let's assume that our snake head is y1. This is y1, and let's take this block coordinates as y2. So look at the logic here. Y1 greater than or equals to y2. Y1, let's take first of all y1 equals to y2. That means both the block, if y1 equals to y2, both the block will come in contact. That means the collision happened. This should be true because they should come in contact. This is the first thing. Either they should become in contact or the y1 should go inside y2. This is the logic. Y1 greater than or is equals to y2. Okay, understood? And look at here. Y1 should be less than, look, if the snake move inside like this, this is the y1 from here to here. The small part is y1. Y1 should be less than this y2 plus the size of the whole block. Let me draw. This y1 should be, now the y1 position is this new position. New y1 position is this. The y1 should be greater than this y2 plus the size of the block, as we stored size value 40, right? 40. This new y1 should be less than this y2 and this new position of snake head and the new position of apple and the size of the whole block. This is the logic. This is how it works. Same it works in horizontal direction too. Now, so we detected the collision. Let's call these. Let's call it in play. If self dot is collision self dot snake into x of 0. Why we need to check for x of 0? Cause we need to check the collision with the head of the snake. So obviously for that we need to check the head of the snake. So we need to take x equal to 0 and y is equals to 0. Self dot snake dot y to 0. Snake. And we need to check the apple's coordinates too. So self dot apple dot x comma self dot apple dot y. Self dot apple dot y. Look, we are checking the collision between snake's head and the apple's x and y coordinates. Got it? Now let's say print the collision is happened. This basically means if the head of the snake matches with the coordinates of the apple, then it should print the collision is happened. Let's say there is self dot is collision. Now what we should get, if the head of the snake matches with the coordinates of the apple, it will print whatever we wrote here, collision happened or whatever, collision happened. Okay, let's try. Oops, here we are calling the list, so we need to use the square brackets here. That's why it is showing the error. This is the way we call the list. Now let's try. So far our code should work. So if I cross the apple, let's say if I cross the apple again, it should print collision occurred. Let's check. Look, I crossed the apple 2 times, so this is actually working. I mean, if the snake hit the apple, what should happen? That apple should be cleared out and it should appear in the new position. So in order to achieve that, we will go to apple class and we will define a new class here. Def move. Yes. In that, what we need to do, self dot x, we need to change the coordinates of the apple. I will tell you what we need to write there. Self dot y is equals to, as you can see, what is our screen size? Let's check our screen size. Vertically we have 800 units or 800 pixels, and horizontally we have 1000 pixels. So apple size is 40 pixels, right? Let's divide this 1000 by 40. Obviously we will get 25. So horizontally, I mean towards x, we have 25 increments where we can place the apple. So in the x we need to give 0 to 25, and in the y, our y is 800, right? So divide that by 40, so we will have 20 increments in y. So what is our logic? If the snake hit if the apple hits the head of the snake, the apple should move into random positions, right? So in order to achieve that, we will import a package named random. So in random we have this random dot randint. I will show you how this works. Look, let's copy this. Okay, look. So what this basically does is pick a number between 0 to 10 every time we run it. Now we need to call this function here. Instead of printing the collision happened, we need to move the apple in a different position. So self dot apple dot move. Yes. Now let's check. If a snake hit the apple, it need to move to different position. Look. Come on, snake. look, the snake is moving little. What mistake we did here? Let me explain you. Look, I'm doing mistakes intentionally to explain you guys what mistakes you do and how to correct them. I'm assuming me as a student, and I'm writing the code, and I'm doing mistakes intentionally to show you. So here a block should move in the multiples of the size of the apple, right? What is the size of the apple? It is 40. We already stored that 40 in size variable. So size. Now let's try. Let's see what happens. Our snake hits the apple. Look, apple move in random position. Next, where is our apple? Oh, apple is moving out. So apple is moving out. So we need to decrease the increments. Otherwise, it is going out of the screen. Let's say 22. Let's say 15 or 13 or whatever. That should be in between 20. Okay, let's run now. Let me show you. Look, where is our apple? Let's see it. Look, this is how it works. What we did here, we detected the collision between apple and snake. Our next step is to what is our next step? Think once. If the snake eat the apple, what should happen? Our snake length should increase, right? For that, what we need to do here? We need to introduce a length class in our snake. Here we can do that. Def increase length. Self dot why I wrote this line. If the snake hits the apple, its length should be increased by 1, right? If our snake is suppose 2 blocks size, and if eats the apple, the 2 blocks should become 3 blocks. So it should increment the length. For this we wrote this line. Next, -1. Why? I will tell you. Self dot y dot append -1. Why? Because it is increasing the length, right? After increasing the length, it should add the block. What is our size of the snake? It is probably a list. We need to add a new element in list, that is a new block in list. In order to add a new element in list or array, we use this function called append. Here we can give any random value, because our walk function will take care of it. Our walk function will assign the coordinates to the snake. So those -1 are just random numbers. So after defining the class, increase length class, we need to call it. Let's say here, if the collision is happened between the snake and the apple, first of all the apple move into a different position, then the length of the snake should increase. For that we already wrote a class, we need to call that. So self dot snake dot increase length. Yep, Now everything looks so good. What is this? Okay, now let's run and see. No, let's see. Here we are, our snake is 6 blocks length. Let's start from 1 block. Now let's see. Look, there you go. Bro, go up. Yes, look, there you go. Look, so far our game works so good. No, I can't stop playing this. Look, now let's write a function to define the score. How to do that? Just think, our score is nothing but the length of our snake, right? So we can easily do that. So after play, we are going to define a function called, let's say, display score. Say display score. So what we need to do here, we need to give some font to display our score word on the screen. Pygame dot font dot sys font. I'm using the system font. Here you can change it. System font Arial. And the font size is let's say 30. You can give whatever you want. You can change it and you can play with it. Score, I'm gonna store the font in variable score font dot render. So I'm gonna use a Python f string here. Score, our score is basically our length of the snake. So self dot snake dot length. True. And which color you wanna display that? Our scoreboard. I'm giving white. You can give whatever color you want. So far everything looks good. Now after giving this, what we need to do, we need to print that on the screen, right? So for that we need to use obviously bleed function. Self dot screen dot bleed. What we need to print? Score, comma, where we need to print, I want to print it on the top right. So obviously it is 800 by 10. Now let's call these we can add this here. Other if we add inside the loop, it will only print, it will keep fluctuating because it will print only when the loop is executed. So it should be printed all the time. So we give outside of the loop. We can say here, we can call this self dot display score, then pygame dot display dot flip, as you guys know already. Now let's run and let's see whether we can see our score or not. It's gonna take some time because look, there you go, look at our score. Look, now our score is 2. Look, score is 3. Look, our score is 4. now it keeps fluctuating because of the frames issue. Maybe you can't see this in your computer, maybe it works fine in your computer. Look, there you go, that is our score. In the last session we created a basic game. In the last session we have created our basic game. Let's see what we have created. Look, this is what we created in the last session. Now let's implement our game over function. Basically, what is game over? When the snake is moving around and when it hits with its own body, then game should be over. For example, if it goes like this, the game should be over. So how to do that? We will apply the same collision. Basically, what is game over? Let me tell you. This is our gaming screen. Suppose this is our snake. Let's say this is the head of the snake. This is the head of our snake. If the head of our snake hits the other blocks, like if the head of our snake hits the other blocks, the head of our snake hits the other blocks, if the head of the snake goes through this block, then our game should be over, right? Now how to achieve that? Snake head with other blocks. So we are gonna take all blocks, so we need to take in for loop range 0 comma till the length of the snake dot length. If self dot is collision, what we need to check here? The collision of head of the snake to the collision of its other blocks. So self dot snake dot x of 0. This is basically the head of the snake. To its other blocks. So this is for head of the snake and this is for other blocks. So let's check which value we can give here. So let me show you the logic. Look, this is the head of the snake. I'm gonna mark it as head, and this is the first block, second block of the body, third, fourth and fifth. Let's say this head will never collide with this first block, right? I guess it won't even collide with the third block, because it will go like this, but it won't collide with the second block. It won't collide with the second block. So we can give directly from 3, right? Now if the collision of head to the collision of body of the snake, if the collision occurs, we need to print, let's say for now, let's say print let's say print game over. So if the game is over, let's say exit. Let's check the errors. Oh fuck, here for loop, for. Now let's check, let's see what happens. Look, there you go. Let me make more than 4 or 5 blocks, then we can easily explain, then we can make collision properly. Look, let's make collision. Look, one time we did collision happened and we are exited from the game. Here you can see that here it should display what we said, game over. Let's see whether we can see. Look, the collision happened and the game is over. We probably exited out of the game, but this is not what we wanted, right? Now we will write. Now let's remove these. We don't want to print game over. Here we need to throw an exception. If you don't know what is an exception, you can refer to Python basics. Raise, probably we will raise a game over exception. Game over exception. We should catch this exception here. Basically we throw an exception, right? Here we should catch the exception. How to catch an exception? Try. Then accept exception as E. Then what we want to do, we will create a game over class, self dot show game over. This self dot show game over doesn't exist, but we will write that. So where we can write that? Here we can write that. Def show game over. What we want to do here? We want to display a nice game over message. So first what we want to do, if a game ends, then we need to clear the background. Like if the game ends, the snake will be there, right? That we don't want to see when we display the game over message. So first let's fill the screen with the color that we gave previously. So let's say self dot screen dot fill. Which color we gave here? This. we can either store this in any variable or we can directly print this down. Yes, now command V. Cool. Now we will give a font to show our game over function. Pygame dot font dot, I'm using sys font, ARI, Arial font, and I'm gonna give its font as 30, font size basically. So let's store this in any variable. I'm gonna say it line 1 is equals to font dot render. I'm gonna use a Python f string. What we want to display here, game is over basically, and your score is, we want to display our score. Score is self dot snake dot, basically our score is the length of the snake, right? Here true. Next, let us give on which color our letter should be there. Let's say white. You can give any color you want, you can play with this later. 255. Yes, now everything looks good. Now obviously after making any changes in the UI, we need to print that on the screen. As I told you before, we need to use bleed function to print anything on the screen. So screen on bleed, what we wanna print, line 1 comma, and where we wanna bleed, let's say 200 comma 300. This is basically the center of the screen. And what else we want to display? I already displayed the game over and I already displayed the score. And what else we want to display? I want to display, like if player want to play again, like press enter to play again, I want to display that. Let's write that same as this. I'll just copy paste it, paste, and here we will change this to play again, press enter, and to exit press escape, and true on the values remain same. Give 2 spaces, and obviously we should, if we make any UI changes, we need to print. What we want to print, line 2, and where we want to print, probably below the line 1, so we can give it as 200 comma 350. So far okay. After we print that, we need to update the display, obviously, right? Otherwise we can't see the modifications. Pygame dot display dot flip. Cool. Let me explain what we did here. If the collision happens, we are raising an exception. Raising an exception means something unusual happened in game and we wanna exit from the game immediately. This is what an exception means here. Now we are catching that exception. So and we are gonna and we created a class called self dot show game over. In this class we wrote all the messages that we want to display on our screen. Okay, let's check everything works fine or not. Here we need to give this time dot sleep. Okay, here we need to give this time dot sleep basically out here. Let's check everything is working or not. Here we forgot to give pass. Okay, I corrected that. Make sure you note that. Okay. Look, code works fine. Look. Okay, let's make this game over. Look. Did you see? Look, it is showing game over, but it is again restarting the game. Look, your score is 7. Now we will implement this. What's really happening here? As you can see, after the game is over, it is restarting again. So what's happening here? Look, after the game is over, this loop is starting again, and this up key, down key, everything is, the key presses are initializing again. So I don't want these to happen. In order to remove these, a pause. Let's say pause value initially false. Here we can add event if event dot key is equals to k return. Then we can keep pause as false, then the loop will be true, right? This is basically for enter button. We mentioned here to play again, press enter, right? For that purpose we introduce this enter button here. If not pause, cause I don't want to play the game if it is paused, right? If not pause, here the pause should become true, cause I don't wanna make that loop run again. Basically pause will become true. I don't want these keys to activate again. Let's see. Now we will eat and we will make a collision. Let's say 5. Now let's make a collision. Look, the game is over. We probably give wrong spelling here. It's not a big deal. You can give whatever you want. The game is over. Your score is 5. To play again, press enter. To exit, press escape. So this is for basically for, if you press enter, then it should restart the game. Now let's see. Cool. So far for pause is equals to false. Pause should remain false here, otherwise it won't work. Cool, figured out the problem. Now let's eat few apples and let's make a collision. Cool. Look, your game is over. Your score is 6. To play again, press enter. To exit, press escape. So if you want to play again, you should press enter. Look, our game started again. Yo, we got it. Let's make a collision. Look, if we press enter, our game will start again. Cool, everything looks good. And I don't want to process all these keystrokes, so we can simply say if not pause. Simple. And we can give tabs here. Cool, this is easy. Now what we want to do, look, as you can see here, if I press enter after the game is over, wait, I'll show you. Look, if I press enter, the game is starting again, but our score is not becoming 0, it is continuing from the previous score. So I don't want that. I want our game to be restarted freshly after our game over function is called. So what we need to do here, we need to add one class, self.reset. This self.reset doesn't exist. I'm gonna create that. So where we gonna create this? Here we can create that. Self reset. Cool. What we wanna do here, if we reset the game, our snake length should become 1 again. We're gonna copy this and we're gonna paste this here, and we're gonna call our apple function again, because it will print a new apples again. Simple. Look here. Okay, let's say our snake should start with 1 block. Cool, let's give here 1 as well. Okay, now let's run and let's see what happens. Come on, 2, 3, let's eat few apples and let's make a collision. Look, if I press enter, our previous score is 6, right? Look, as you can see here, our score is 6. If I press enter, it should start from 1 again score. Let's press enter. Look, our game started from 1. There you go. Easy. This is our game. In the next session, we are gonna add background music, and yeah, I don't want to see this blue color. I'm gonna add any background picture or background image. In the last session, we created this. We created our game. but our game doesn't look fancy. So in order to make it fancy, we are gonna add background sounds like when snake eats the apple and when the snake crashes itself, and while we are playing the game, the background music, everything we are gonna add in this session. So in order to add these sounds, we have a module named mixture in Pygame. We need to initialize it when we initialize the Pygame. We need to initialize it where we initialize the Pygame. Pygame dot mixer dot so we initialize the Pygame. So when we want to add the sounds, when snake eats the apple, this is where it detects the collision between the apple and the snake, right? Let me comment it out, then you can understand. This is snake colliding itself. So here the snake hits the apple, we need to add the sound. So let's name it as sound Pygame dot mixer dot sound. We're gonna load the sound. Look, we have a ding sound in our project, so I'm gonna give ding dot mp3. Cool. After we store this store our background sound in sound variable, we want to play the sound, so we're gonna ask the mixer to play the sound, and we already stored our ding sound in the sound variable. So we're gonna ask Pygame to play the sound. Let's run and see whether it works or not. Look, there you go. Look at the sound. Hear the sound. Here we will give sound when the snake hits itself. So where the snake hits itself, here, right? So when the snake hits itself, we're gonna add a crash sound, so we can store it in sound is equals to Pygame dot same like this. I'm gonna give it a play, and here we give our file crash.mp3. Now let's check. Let's crash it after eating few apples. let's crash it. Look, there you go. Let me show you once again. Two more. Let's make crash. Look, now our game feels much more good. Here we are using the same lines again and again, so why don't we put this in any class? So we can put this in here. We can define a class here. Def, we gonna give it a name, play sound. And we're gonna copy paste these two lines there. Command C. We're gonna remove these two lines. Now we're gonna paste them here. Here, in order to access different sounds, we can give any sound variable here, and we can use the Python f string, and in place of our sound name we can simply give sound. Cool. Now we're gonna call it here self dot and we are gonna call it here self dot play sound, and we are gonna give the sound name as here ding, and here we're gonna call it again self dot play sound, and we're gonna give here crash. Now let's check. So far everything looks good. Okay, now let's run. What is this? Now let's check. Let's check whether we can hear the ding sound when the apple and the snake ate apple. Yes, cool. And we're gonna check the crash. There you go. Our snake game is going well. Now let's add a background music to our game. That music should keep on playing from the beginning of the game. For that, I'm gonna define a class. Here we can define, right? Def, I'm gonna call it play background music. Play background music. I'm gonna load the background music. Music.load. I give the name here as music.mp3. Let's give music.mp3, and we're gonna ask the Pygame to play the sound. Pygame mixer to play the sound. music dot mixer dot music dot play. Cool. Then we need to call this background music class, where we can call this. After this, music should be playing from the beginning of the game. So after we initialize the Pygame mixer, we can call from here, because the game probably will start from here. So we're gonna call that self dot play background music dot self. Now let's check whether our background music is working or not. Oops, my mistake. Here it is mixer. Now let's run and let's see. Look, there you go. Look, even after our game is over, still the music is playing. But we don't want that. When our game is over, we want the music to be stopped, right? So where we can stop the music? Here we defined, here we call the reset class, right? What this basically does, let's see. Here this will put a new snake and a new apples in our screen after our game is over. So here we need to pause the music. Basically, to pause the music, we have pygame dot mixer dot music dot pause. Now let's check. Let's crash. Look, our music stopped. Cool, bro. Now when our music should start? When we already displayed the message, right? Like, if you want to play again, press enter. So when we press enter, our music should start again. So it is here. Here we can simply give pygame dot mixer dot music dot unpause. Cool, here the music will be unpaused. Let's check. Look, if I press the enter, the music should unpause again. It should play again. Look.